Hola, hola, hola. Ahí está. Está funcionando, está funcionando. Le- ¿Cómo era? Show. Hola, gente, ¿cómo están? ¿Cómo se sacaba el cuadrito este de los FPS, weón? Ah, me fue el nombre. ¿Qué tal, Ángel? ¿Cómo estás? Tele Show. Quiero sacar esta vaina de los FPS, weón, pero no me acuerdo. La madre, qué rabia no acordarme, weón. Eh, Show FPS 1. No, pero había otra. NetGraph. Esa era NetGraph. NetGraph 0. Ahora sí. Activar camarógrafo y listo. Bro Kick, ¿cómo estás, mi bro? Gracias. Efectivamente ya me acordé. Ahí lo busqué. Y ahora sí estamos viendo completa la pantalla, muchachos. Pero lo único es que ahí les estoy. Tapo un poco la salud del personaje, ¿no? Voy a checar esto un toque, ¿eh? Vamos a ponerlo mejor. Oh, perdón chicos, perdón, un ratito. Ahorita continuamos con el juego. Listo, ahora sí, ahora sí. Let's go. Ya. Ahí creo que no les va a fastidiar tanto. Ahí está mejor, ahí está mejor. Ya, bueno, entonces estamos viendo aquí el match. Un poquito tarde, disculpen. Estamos viendo el match de FURIA versus G2. Estoy como espectador, así que no creo que haya mucho problema con eso, ni que me bajen el stream ni nada. No estoy transmitiendo el stream de nadie más, estoy yo directamente como espectador. Así que vamos a ver qué onda. Está súper parejo el match. Ya el primer mapa lo ganó FURIA. Hola Rodri, ¿cómo estás? El primer mapa ya lo ganó FURIA. Estamos ahorita en el segundo map, que es Inferno. Lo que no entiendo es por qué no se cambia solo la cámara. Ahora sí, ahora sí. Yo personalmente en mis pick'ems tengo a los dos, a Furia y a G2, y de hecho solo me falta uno para completar los cinco aciertos, así que gane quien gane. Ya hice el reto de los pick'ems. Ahí Camel dice, espero que gane G2, por sus pick'em también. Yo creo que debería ganar G2, pero vamos a ver qué tal. Los dos son súper buenos equipos, yo por eso a los dos los tenía en el pick'em. Vemos que Zap se quedó solito. Pero se está yendo la bomba de B, que está fría. Si lo hace rápido, puede tener una chance de plantar. Tiene la misma P250 que yo. Qué chévere. Tiene su P250. Es la misma que yo tengo, o sea. La P250 hasta luego. Y eso que la mía tiene StatTrak, la de él no. Uy, uy, uy. Casi la hace, ¿eh? Y estaba en eco todavía. Bueno, 12-10 para G2. Hasta ahora va ganando. Claro, pues Rodri. Gracias por la felicitación, pero sí hay que ver a esto, a los pros para aprender cada vez más. Uy, uy. Disculpen chicos, estoy tomando mi desayuno. Disculpen la falta de respeto. Uy, uy, lo dejó pasar, weón. Qué buena, lo cagó. Qué buena Hunter, weón. Ahora le tiran el fuego a triple. Obvio. Puta, que Hunter con esa jugada. Uy, podría haberle dado la ronda a G2. Pero ya no. Mataba uno más y le daba la ronda. Yo no sé cómo hacen para ver esos flashes, weón. Claro, su polito Vila, mano. Yo no sé cómo hacen para ver esos flashes. Que se los esquivan. Si tienen un super audio y escuchan cuando los tiran, pero yo veo que los de los esquivan y yo nunca lo vi, weón. Pero la ganó Furia. Está súper parejo. Ahora, este match, no sé pick de quién es. No sé quién piqueó Inferno. Voy a ver si lo encuentro por acá. Creo que sí. Dice acá, ¿no? Dice acá, creo. En results, no, en matches. Acá está. Matches, Spartan. Vértigo. Allá jugaron Vértigo. Pero no sale quién, no sale quién escogió qué mapa, ¿no? A ver, vamos a ver si acá dice. Furia escogió Vértigo y lo ganó. G2, este es pick de G2. Este es pick de G2. Nico, puta, Nico, crack. Para mí es uno de los mejores jugadores de CSGO de la historia. O sea, sería chévere que gane Furia. Aunque creo que Imperial también es sudamericano, ¿no? ¿No es brasilero Imperial? Creo que sí. Pero sí, sería chévere que gane Furia por ser sudamericano. Honestamente, yo creo que va a ganar G2 por la trayectoria. Para mi pick'em, como le contaba a la gente, a mí me da lo mismo porque a los dos los tengo en el pick'em. Así que nada, mira qué violento para ganar Banana que Cerato, weón. Mira hasta dónde se metió a través del amolo, del smoke, de todo, weón. Ya, Monsi, es que yo debería estar viendo todo el tiempo, mano, para aprender de ese Oper espectacular. Para mí, de los mejores uppers del mundo, weón. Junto con Simple, ¿no? Obviamente, ¿no? Simple, Kennis, Monsi, Fallen. Puta, viendo a Fallen ayer. Ayer fue, ¿no? Sí, ayer. Aprendí un huevo. Sí, Imperial es el de Fallen, efectivamente. Uy, que los cagaron, Qué bien los encerraron. ¿Ya han visto cómo ahí tira la flash y sale antes de que explote? Para agarrarlo al otro volteado. Buena esa. Hoy día en la noche no juego, Rodri. De hecho, ahorita entré y estaba dudando si jugar o si ver los matches, pero creo que si está jugando la Major hay que mirar, así que decidí mirar con ustedes para ver todos juntos. Hola, Tyrone, ¿cómo estás, mano? ¿Por qué pipí? ¿Qué fue? 3 versus 4. 1 en B. 2 en A. Furia empieza a avanzar hacia B. Hacen el fake de A. Y se va ahí. Se va ahí. Puta, qué buena. Lo cagó, ¿ah? Qué buen fake, mano. Qué buen fake. Se da cuenta de su estupidez Alexis y regresa. Porque no pasaron nada. Puta madre. Los cagaron, ¿ah? Qué buen fake. Mañana es miércoles, ¿no? Sí, mañana. Mañana aprendo, Rodri. ¿Aló? ¿Aló, buenos días? Un pedido, les dejo ahí con el match. Voy a abrir la puerta y regreso. Gracias, Rodri. Oye, no he pedido nada de comer. No he pedido algo que estaba esperando más chévere todavía. Acá está. Llegó mi pedido de Huawei porque me compré una tablet en realidad, porque yo nunca he tenido tablet. Y ahora la verdad que justo para el tema de los streams estaba pensando que necesitaba, sobre todo para lo de avatars, no tanto para mi página, pero para lo de avatars, como ahora parece que vamos a streamar desde mi esta vez que viene, necesito un tipo Stream Deck para cambiar las escenas, porque como voy a estar jugando yo no voy a poder estar haciendo el cambio de escenas manual, así que me he comprado una tablet, no solo por eso, pero aprovechando que la necesitaba para eso, ya me compré una tablet, así que ahora hacemos el unboxing, aprovechamos que estamos acá y hacemos el unboxing. Porque en la tablet tú puedes como bajarte una aplicación que se llama Streamlabs Deck, con la cual puedes ir cambiando las escenas automáticamente. ¿Cómo va? 14-13 para G2. Se pone interesante, ¿eh? Lo que me parece raro es que solamente 19 personas estén viendo esta partida desde el Counter, bueno, desde el CSGO. Es raro, ¿no? Que en todo el mundo solo haya 19 personas viendo el match desde CSGO. Caso. No sabría qué decirte, Rodria. Pero no tiene más pinta de que lo gana G2. Pero cualquier cosa puede pasar. Esos furias son locos, mano. Uy, mira cómo sabía que estaba arriba. Sabían, ¿eh? Que estaba busqueado, mano. Qué buena. A la mierda. Ya. Uy, te van a ver. Puta, le quité el humo. Buena, carajo. Puta, que yo juego al éxito. Uy, ya lo vio. Qué bueno. Puta, lo más impresionante de estos jugadores profesionales, weón, es cómo se soportean entre ellos, weón. Es increíble, brother. Mientras uno corre, el otro le tira el humo, le tira la flash, le tira la molo. Y el timing perfecto, weón. Lo flashea y sale el otro a piquear. Esa huevada creo que es lo principal que diferencia a los equipos profesionales de los jugadores comunes y corrientes, weón. O sea, porque claro, tiene mejor aim y todo, y super game sense y todo, pero realmente mucha gente tiene buen aim y game sense. La diferencia es esa, el trabajo en equipo, cómo se compenetran, cómo puta se soportean entre ellos, es brutal, weón. Es brutal. Onder, ¿cómo estás, mano? Salí de clases para ver Tranquiveste. Anda a estudiar, oye. No dejen sus estudios por el counter. G2. Match point para G2. Se quedarían 1-1 y se irían al tercer match. Eso, Camel, eso exactamente, brother. Esos juegos en parejas, esos juegos en que se apoyan. Puta, en que el otro le dice, oye, Flash, puta, ya sabe exactamente dónde la va a tirar. Es increíble, weón. Es increíble. Con la velocidad con la que toman decisiones. Puta. Es brutal, man. Es brutal. Yo realmente no sé cómo lo hacen. Pero, bueno, de nuevo, estos huevones viven, respiran y comen CSGO. Todo el día están haciendo esta huevada en sus respectivas gaming houses, weón. Todo el día están, dale, que bien, Jax. ¡Uy! 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 ¡Pausa! Lo que hizo Drop. Lo que hizo Nico también se la devolvió, pero puta, los agarró en filita, no se lo esperaba, ¿no? ¿Cómo van a dejar de mirar tapete, weón? Ese es error de Silver. Entiendo que bajó a apoyarlo a su pata porque lo estaban sacando la mura ahí en corta, pero no puedes dejar de mirar tapete, man. Escúchame, hay algo que estaba viendo. Me parece que es meta ahora. Y es que la gente se mete en los smokes cuando están desapareciendo. O sea, ya no esperan a que desaparezca para cruzar. Ahora se meten en el smoke y prefieren aparecer en el smoke que se desvanece. ¿Por qué? No lo sé, pero entiendo que es como para tratar de acoger esa oportunidad en el que tú crees que el smoke todavía sigue, pero ya se fue, ¿no? Porque no todo el mundo está mirando fijamente el smoke y llega un punto que se desvanece y no siempre le das el timing exacto. Entonces por ahí quieren agarrar a alguien mirando hacia otro lado antes de que se desvanezca el smoke. No lo sé.
This is Sparta!
Una buena tostaditas con mantequilla de maní, gente, te la recomiendo. Falta su mermeladita y ya. Fin. Ay, ay, ay. Furia se pone un punto de empatarlo. Mira, todos hacia banana. Todos hacia banana. Todos hacia banana. Se empiezan a meter. Uy, se meten violento. Cuidado. No van a comer a Nico. Qué bien, Nico. Uy, estaba flasheado, ¿ves? A eso voy, esos flashes, güey. Uy, Ponzi también hace lo suyo. Quedan en un 3 versus 4. Se voltean para regresan, pero igual hay dos jugadores que puta. Qué bien se paró G2 esta ronda. Se regresaron para banana. Todavía puede ganar Furia. Porque donde sea que vayan van a ser 3 versus 2. No tienen lurk. Entonces las probabilidades diría que el site al que vayan lo tienen que ganar. Por lo menos quedarse con 1 o con 2. Y de ahí ya viene el post plant que cualquier cosa puede pasar. Uy, me quema. Oye, pero se demoraron en pasar. ¿Qué hicieron? Ah, no se quisieron arriesgar por el humo, weón. Ya lo vio, ya fue. No limpiaron triste, weón. Qué brutos. Asumieron que solo había uno en B. Uy, le da. ¡No! ¿Qué hiciste? ¡Timing! ¡El tiempo! ¡Oh! ¡Banana! ¡Ah! ¡Puta, qué buena jugada de Kaiserato, weón! ¡Qué buena jugada! ¡Oh! Puta, yo creo que se la lleva. ¡No! Puta, que se hizo un jugadón. Iba a ser el clutch. El clutch de la Major. Bueno, ganó G2, gentita. Ahora para el siguiente match. ¿Cuánto tiempo hay que esperar? ¿Cuánto tiempo hay entre ronda y ronda? Eso sí lo puedo ver rápidamente en alguno de los tweets. Puta, 15.000 es un huevo, weón.
Does this very often, you know, when they... Well, I think G2 often meme Jax for his old age or whatnot, but his worth is placed in gold because he does this very often, you know, when they need him, he is there. I think that goes for a lot of members on the team of G2, and I think even though they've had a good record on going to overtime, Mathieu, they are really happy that they didn't have to.
Oh, that's a huge sigh of relief.
Yeah.
You have to give props to Jax, because I guarantee you, when you're in a 1 versus 1, that originally was a 1v4, and all your teammates have been literally deleted. There is a lot of pressure on your shoulders. So Jax, very solid with
so much at stake there, and I'm glad the way G2 closed it out. They have a great, well-ironed plan to start that round. The crossfire or the start with Nico at the sandbags, the flash coming in, Monacy there for the trade. I'm glad to see G2 don't rely on their individuals too much in the high-pressure moments. They obviously have to use them in order to get themselves into that position, but at the same time, it's the fact that they have such contingency plans on top of contingency plans that was not going to be Furia's round no matter how you cut it.
Yeah, I feel like we saw a G2 that came in with a bit more activity, I guess, on their CD side. Usually I would fold them for a bit too much 3-2 standard, as Maui's talking about the individuals having to shine. Here they were one step ahead, they were trying to regain information, they were not shying away from the team and start on the B side.
Yeah, is that reading their opponent as well, knowing the way Furia like to play, how aggressive they like to be, and then having the confidence to say, yeah, we're going to make sure we're there first?
I really think that the thing with G2 that was impressive in this game on top of that was the fact that they were always doing something that looked a little bit more proactive. You very rarely in that match saw G2 just on their heels playing into the bomb site in a 5v5 situation, because sometimes they do just seem to rest on the fact that we know we're very skilled, so we're just going to hit our shots when they come into the site. But the proactive defenses, the way they're playing more forward, that's exactly what I want to see. It's a development in G2 and their strategy, and I've got to commend them for it.
Yeah, it was their map pick, so I do want to commend FURIA a little just for, wow, some of those moments, man. The drop, sometimes safe and the spacing, but it wasn't enough, and then you have to credit G2 for how they kept cool in the most important moments. Let's take a look at some rounds. Round 14, which G2 closed out. I believe it was your round, Maui.
Yes, this is one where it was just very well put together. Opening pick that goes the way of Serrano finds one on top of that with the op, but 3v5 situation, and look at what G2 and LXEV put together. The nades onto drop there to find an opening pick into the bomb site. They have just some pistols here, and this is where they get a little bit lucky, I'm not gonna lie. This shot coming up, it is filthy. So early, we have the two-man setup from FURIA there. Jax takes down Art, drive-by from Hunter with the Tech 9. Bang, bang, they are in the bomb site. That's what you want to see from G2, executing flawlessly to get in and to steal a round from FURIA.
Yeah, it's also about just crafting, like kind of crafting a solution from scratch. This is something that we can definitely put on the XCB and give him the props for that. The 3v5, as you say, on the fly, coming in with the plan with the double nade. They get lucky, they got the kill, and then it's the right spacing, and also the little headshots. You do need that.
You need a little bit of luck sometimes, right?
Me queda la duda.
Round 28 then, when it was getting really close, G2 was
No sé si la
really
cagué
avoiding
comprándome una
that
tablet
overtime.
Huawei.
They needed something moments.
Yes, I think
Ya no
what really
tienen los
struck me
servicios
in
de
that round 28 is the flair from the individuals. It's Monacy, it's the good nade and the spray here coming in from Nico. What we don't see is Hunter regaining information in apps as well, and it's a bunch of individuals knowing, feeling the timing and optimizing. Here, LXEV took a risk through the smoke, got the kill, faded back, left time for his rotation to come from CT, and it's just overall, all the individuals knowing how to act on the map, knowing how to close the round as well. Very well played by G2 in a round that is also extremely high pressure. It's towards the very end.
Yeah, the macro movements for G2 were definitely impressive. With this lineup first form, you could be kind of happy about a guy multi-fraging in a bomb site, but the development of the team to actually know how everybody should be positioning themselves on the map, to cover each other, to support, those kind of things show that G2, they are making progress as a roster. They're not exactly what we saw on day one.
Making progress that will be needed because we still have one to go, and it is Ancient. We will preview it after this.
Battle formations.
Sorry, gente, sorry, quiero probar algo acá. Acá estoy, no me he ido. Vamos a quitar esto. Vamos a poner... pues esta vaina. Monitor. Aquí. Estoy probando unas nuevas escenas, pero gente, téngame paciencia. Innovar un poco en el stream, ¿sí o no? Ah, pero acá no se va a ver la pantalla completa, A ver, estamos. Se ve raro, pero bueno, ahí está. Este loguito lo voy a sacar. Lo voy a poner por acá. Ah, no, pues ya. Vamos a agarrar esto de aquí. El logo de Avatar. Recuento. Los logos de Spartan. Esto creo que es el cuadro. Ahora sí, la webcam Logitech.
Esports is what we live and breathe. For us, it's more than a game. It's a reality. We're a group of letters and mean everything. Where Mirage is a place for bombs, battles, and glory, not an illusion. But the true heroes are those in front of the screen. GG bet. This is real.
Estrada, Arión, ¿cómo están? Castear no necesariamente, pero estoy viendo el match. Va 1-1, Estrada. 1-1. Ganó Furia, ganó Vértigo. Y tú ganó Inferno. Cada uno ganó su pick. Ahora se viene el tercer map. Ahora se viene el tercer map. Vamos a apagar estas huevadas que... Ahí está. Y ahora sí está el chat.
All or nothing, do or die, or you get to pack your bags and go home and you're out of the PGL Major, or you get to play in front of 10,000 people in Specteamos here in a couple of days. The stakes could not be higher for FURIA and for G2 Esports. They are going up to Ancient for our decider. And there is so much to talk about. Let's start with the map maybe, and of course FURIA winning their map pick, G2 winning their map pick. Now it is a bit more uncomfortable territory for the both of them, fair to say?
That's correct. It's going to be a true test for G2 at least. I feel like the way they'll behave, like the performance they will display on Ancient is going to either indict the changes they have done, or it's going to...
Por ahora lo dejo ahí. Ahí no voy a castear, pero por ahora lo estoy dejando ahí.
Now, then everyone is going to say, but what the hell would you change the lineup if you're not able to build a true map pool going into the Major? That to me is going to be the deciding factor.
There has been a shift in G2 from last year to this on this map. Some of the stats back that up. I mean, the thing is that when they were led by Nexa, they were actually a better T-side team. But once they added Alexi B and Monacy, they become a better CT side team. So it's like the win conditions have changed for this roster for G2 as they have moved into this new year. And it is going to be paramount because, like you said, Shocks, they're going to be starting on the CT side. So one guy that I really am worried about and concerned about is Jax. Sometimes he's on an island by himself towards that A side of the map. And he's not able to accomplish too much. If they don't give him the help that he deserves and needs, then FURIA could run over.
De hecho, lo estoy viendo ahí como espectador.
Or he must protect them as well to see what he can do. Talk to me about the CT side and the opping out of Monzi as well, who has been having a good tournament. Mathieu, you dove a bit deeper into the stats.
Creo que si lo veo de algún canal me corro el riesgo de que me bajen la página, bro.
Safe and how good he's also been playing, not necessarily always on the up. In this series, that's one to watch.
Yeah, and the numbers are actually quite scary. If you're a G2 fan, if you're a Monacy fan, I was looking at 2022 on Ancient. That's a 0.87 rating. Right, granted, we knew Monacy, when he came from the Academy League and he jumped into G2, we made it clear that on a few maps, he would still have to catch up with the meta, he would have to catch up with the professional level, the highest level. I think he blew us all away in all the maps. For example, we struggled.
Bueno, vamos a aprovechar para seguir haciendo el unboxing, porque justo cuando estaba viendo el partido, me llegó mi nueva tablet de Huawei. Ah, esta es la fundita, me mandaron una funda gratis.
He is new to this. He is new to Ancient. He played it a couple times with them, but we have seen that his rotation is still on the map when he is suppressed and bombarded by utility. That he has trouble dealing with that. So I am very concerned about Monacy, and again, Jax and him both, they have to, I would say, overperform if they want to close this map out cleanly.
I think the caveat we have to put on these two players is that this time around, in this Ancient, there might not be clear-cut protocols for them to know how to react, like an automated response for the CT. If you get flashed, if you get smoked, this is where you go, I'll be right behind you. Sure, they have plans, but they won't be optimal, they won't be perfect. There's going to be gray areas, moments where you just have to follow your instinct, and then this is where they truly show what they're made.
Yeah, and I'm hearing IGL show us what you got, right? I also heard the word bombardment, and if there's something Art can do, it is that, right? He loves getting aggressive and making that space and making the other team feel uncomfortable. And on the other side, you have an Alexi B, who now is on a bit more unfamiliar territory in terms of the amount of tape and the amount of times he has played this map with his team. And it is at the most important time of the year so far. Maui, what do you think?
I just think that the thing is that it's so tough to contain Art. He has these plays towards lane, towards cave, towards mid as well, and if he has good spawns, good timings, they know what nades they're going to throw. And then the guys that we're worried about for G2, I'm not sure if they're completely prepped for that. So I actually think that this is a game that comes down to T sides a little bit more. CT side is usually the focal point of a map like Ancient, who can put together the 11-round, 12-round CT side, but I want to see if anybody here can get 5 or 6 on T, because that's where I think Art actually thrives. Innovating, saving strats for moments such as this, big ones.
Innovating, you're expecting innovation? I'm expecting a vertigo. Again, trying Art to push through smokes, playing so fast. We talked about it's either it works beautifully or it doesn't, a double-edged sword. We said he's stuck to his gun on Vertigo, win a couple of rounds. Is that going to be the case on Ancient as well? Is it going to be a full force Art and Furia, or are they going to struggle with that?
Yeah, super interesting indeed. So is this a differing opinion? Because I'm hearing from you that you believe that there will be plans saved, that there will be problem solving in the moment from Art, and you're saying it's going to be all guns blazing, it's going to be a puggy style like we saw in Vertigo.
I still think that this is G2 favorite overall, but I do think that Art and Furia have so much in store for this map. I really do think that some of the strategies they have for taking mid control early on, it's simply just if G2 don't have those protocols all set and ready to go, if they can't find that immediate trade, then Furia's going to run over them. What they did on Vertigo was it was almost a one-note game plan. But I do think that Furia, they have a couple tempo shifts on this one. They will show a little bit more variety, and that scares me given G2.
Given G2, and I think as we slow it down a little bit, as we get into this final map, let's set the stakes again. We see it there, that huddle is longer, that is intense, that is the words out of the coach and out of Alexi B, because this is what we've worked for now this year. This is the changes and the choices you have made in 2022 need to pan out. And on the other side, for Furia, that pressure of that Brazilian community that wants to see you perform because they expect everything from their players going into Ancients. It's, wow, it is very spicy. And the pressure in those moves right now is very,
It's insane. It's insane how high it is. And I think there is a lot of responsibility for the more experienced players out there.
Yeah.
Make sure that everyone is entering this last map in the best conditions possible. On both sides, you have individuals, young individuals, that will need to provide, that will need to get the frags. We talk about the drops to save. Of course, Manesi, if you're Nico, if you are Yuri or Kisserado, you have to help them get in the zone. If you have to forget about the moment, if you have to forget about the context, do it. If you have to use it as a fuel, do it. But figure out how.
The tension is palpable here. And with G2, to me, it feels like there is more pressure on their shoulders. In terms of the blockbuster signings that have come out for this roster, and in terms of simply the criticism that has come out from the community across a couple of these players. Nico, the post-Katowice slump that he's been in, he's slowly finding his way, but it's not quite the star, the all-star, the transcendent player that we are used to. And then for a guy that's having a meteoric rise, such as Monesi, I need him to use his brain a little bit more. He has been insane at hitting shots in this tournament. So he's hit some incredible, blistering shots, some flicks that nobody else could hit. But the thing is that he needs to know how to deal with a crazy game plan that Art is coming up with. So I really, really hope that Xtaz, if there is something going wrong, if Alexi B doesn't call the timeout, bring it. Show that you have a plan and an answer to respond in these moments.
Yeah, don't let it get out of control, because this is your shot to make it to the next stage. You're only one at that. We can't wait, and I hope that our casters are as excited as we are.
Absolutely vibrating with excitement for this one. Yeah, 2 teams, we've got 2 spots left and 2 more best of 3. For us, essentially a best of 1. Ancient is all they have. G2 with, seems like the desk have got some good kind of benchmarks for things to look out for. You've got the CT star, but there are clearly some things to watch out for. Modesty surprised me with his ratings on Ancient. That was an interesting
I think the scene's been set nicely here in the sense that if we do get the fast play from Furia like we had on Vertigo, it might be something they need to stand up and deliver against immediately here, because we saw them get shaken with that on Vertigo when we think about the way G2 defended right there. Modesty, and they were also talking about Jax over towards A. Well, that normally goes hand in hand. The Warper's job is to rotate and help that A defense from time to time. So we'll see how that flows on in. I think we're getting the pistol round underway right here, right now. The final map of play between G2 and Furia gets underway.
Uy, arrancó Ancient, BO3, vámonos al match, Ancient, el BO3, y vámonos a esta escenita mejor. Aunque bueno, este estaba bien, ¿no? A ver. ¿Cómo lo ven ahí? ¿Se ve bien o no? ¿Sí, no? ¿O muy chiquito? Chip. Sanchi. Ya, hasta el cable. Sacando esto. Los cablecitos también son USB tipo C. ¡Ah! Están todas las instrucciones. Sí, también es USB tipo C. Ya tengo un nuevo cargador. El de Imperial. Sí, yo creo que sí, por lo menos el primero, Estrada. Me voy a quedar como hasta la 1 más o menos. Lo que alcance a ver hasta la 1. Listo. Creo que no hay más. Eso es todo. Eso es todo. La tecita. Vamos a meterla a su funda. Oye, ¿por qué no está? Ahora sí. Perdón, no estaba conectado. No sé si así es mejor. Hoy no quisieron jugar en DAS 2 en ningún equipo. No, parece que no, ya DAS 2. Creo que ese es un buen mensaje para Valve, diciéndoles como que ya nos cansamos de DAS 2, ya estuvo bueno. Ah, ya no tenía tiempo para irse al otro bomb. Por razón yo decía que así, porque sigue me echando ahí. ¿Cuál? Manche la pantalla ya. Es usarla como un stream deck, entonces la voy a tener acá a un costadito. Configurado con el app y acá automáticamente hago los cambios de escena. Ahora les voy a mandar una foto de cómo queda acá en el setup. Bueno, voy a regresar al anterior ya para que vean mejor, gente. Hay que priorizar a los viewers. Listo, 3 versus 2. Miren qué buen flash. Salen los dos juntos. El tercero flashea. O sea, esa es una estrategia entre 3, weón. Bueno, sí, es verdad, Estrada. Ese es un buen punto. Ya están. Además, está tan trillado DAS 2 que. Uy, sí estaba. Que efectivamente es muy difícil poder sacar una ventaja, poder hacer una estrate especial, poder hacerte dueño del mapa, digamos, ¿no? Entonces, si no lo haces, o sea, no te conviene. Podría ser un decider, pero no conviene. Como pick, no conviene. Ya, a ver. Vamos a ver qué tiene para ofrecer esta tableta. Sí, más bien me parece raro que haya quedado Ancient como decider en esta, weón. Puede ser jodido. Pero, o sea, jodido para el equipo que no tenga un alto win rate o que no haya trabajado bien este mapa. Ahora, a este nivel de profesionales, todos los mapas están bien trabajados, ¿no? Pero siempre algunos equipos tienen claras ventajas en algunos mapas. Entonces, no sé en Ancient quién tiene mejor win rate. No sé si en la página lo dice. De repente si nos vamos a la página de cada uno nos dice el porcentaje de win rate. Mira, G2 es el equipo número 5 en el mundo, Furia es el equipo número 11. ¿Qué nos puede decir de los mapas? Stats. Ahí está, win rate. Mira, win rate de G2 en Ancient 25%, weón. 25%. Y win rate de Furia en Ancient 75%, gente. De 4 matches jugados ha ganado 3 y ha perdido 1. Y G2 de 4 matches jugados ha ganado 1 y ha perdido 3. Uy. Se pone interesante para Furia, gente. Se pone interesante para Furia. Ahora, no es el win rate histórico, ¿no? Es el win rate, me parece, de los últimos 4 matches. Pero igual, G2 no viene con la mejor de las estadísticas. Eso hay que reconocerlo. Ahí está, le suelto hasta estadísticas como los comentaristas profesionales, ¿ah? Me aparezco el Mr. Chip del Counter-Strike. Ay, tenían todo el site libre. ¿Qué fue? Se comieron el fake. Si entras al match, sale el hand to hand y el win rate de mapas. O sea, bueno, que termine la ronda. ¿Te refieres al match dentro de HLTV? ¿A la página del match? Vamos a ver. Hola Moisés, ¿cómo estás? Un saludo, mi hermano. Cuídate. Un saludo espartano para el gran Moisés. Ah, ya se fueron a guardar. Bueno, vamos a ver. Vamos a entrar a la página del match. Entonces, según el gran Estrada, dice que te sale los win rates. ADR, Ancient. Creo que no se ve el win rate de Estrada. Mira, en las apuestas, el favorito es G2. Bueno, en mi caso, el favorito también es G2. Ah, sí, tienes razón. Tienes toda la razón, man. 75% de win rate de Furia y 25% de G2. Como ya lo había visto, pero lo había parado. cada uno ganó su pick, como normalmente pasa. Ay, ay, ay. Se metieron con todo. Puta. Y quieren entrar a con todo, ¿eh? No sé si lo van a lograr. Uy, sí, lo lograron. A través del humo drop se baja a Jax. Empiezan a pasar al Saya, pasa a la derecha. Escuchó. Está jodido, ¿eh? Ya ganaron el Child. Pero hay que decirlo, A normalmente es un site más fácil de recuperar que B porque es un poco más abierto. Como suele pasar en la mayoría de mapas. No en todos, pero en la mayoría B suele ser un site un poco más cerrado. Y van a guardar otra vez. Porque en la anterior también les hicieron exactamente lo mismo. Les ganaron el site de A y se tuvieron que ir para atrás. No me va a ir acá por el lateral. Con eso, antes de empezar el mapa, puedes saber también cuál es el pick de cada equipo por si quieres apostar antes de comenzar el... Correcto, correcto. Te dan ahí toda la info, ¿no? Código de verificación. Perdón, gente, que estoy configurando la tablet. Esa faca de Monsi, ¿cuál es su costo? A ver, ¿cuál es la de Monsi? ¿Cuál es la faca de Monsi? Ahorita que aparezca, a ver. Es la... Ah, pero no sale el nombre. Es una... ultravioleta, parece, ¿no? Es una... Butterfly Ultraviolet, ¿puede ser? A ver. Butterfly Ultraviolet, ¿o me equivoco? ¿Alguien sabe cuál es? Yo me estoy equivocando. No, no era este, no es Ultraviolet. La Ultraviolet está como 3000 soles, pero creo que no es esa. No, porque es moradita. La hoja es moradita. Puta, que ven un 2 versus 3. Art con muy poca vida. Mira, esto es lo que yo debería hacer siempre. Meterme a ver estos matches y ver el POV de los Oppers. Para aprender cómo juegan. Están los dos en oscuro, bro. Se van a quedar ahí holdeando, pero puta, los de G2, ya le vio el pie. Qué buena, weón. Ya, esa no es, ¿no? Esa no es, porque tiene la hoja moradita. No sé cuál es la que tiene entonces Monsi, mano. La verdad, que no lo sé. Tendría que buscarla acá. Butterfly. ¿Cuál será, weón? ¿Cuál será el de Monsi? No tengo idea. Vamos a buscarlo por acá en la tablet. A ver, la tablet sirve para hacer sus consultas, sus cositas, a ver. Qué rico pick. Ah, es un Doppler. Es un Doppler el de Mouncy. Cuchillo, mariposa, Doppler. Vamos a ver cuánto es el Doppler. Doppler. Acá está. Mínimo unos 6.000 soles. 5.700, 5.800 soles. Eso cuesta la faca de Mouncy. Un ratito que voy a configurar la vaina de la tablet. Estaba configurando el reconocimiento facial de la tablet. La bomba 3 contra 2, 2 versus 2. Yo creo que sí la saca G2, ¿eh? Ya está, 1 versus 2. Ya tienen que saber que está ahí. Tienen que spamear, ya las. ¡Oh! ¡Oh! ¿Qué tal colateral de Mouncy? Un crack, weón. Un crack. ¡Uy! Se falla la segunda. Tres versus 5 está complicada. Pero todo es posible. Todo es posible. A veces no está, huevón, no está el de Nico. A ver, vamos a ver el de Nico. ¿Cuál es el cuchillo de Nico? Es un cuchillo esqueletizado, acero templado. A ver, Skeleton Knife. Acero templado. ¿Ese es el Case Harden? ¿Es el Case Harden? Sí, no, es este. Con Stat Track, o sea que está también entre 2800 y 3200 soles. ¡Oh! Hunter, qué maestro. ¿Cómo sabe que siempre viene un segundo, no? Les está dando de alma, a pesar de que tiene win rate más bajo, pero bueno, también depende mucho de contra quién han jugado. Ya deben estar más preparados. Hoy día que voy a almorzar no tengo idea, Rodri. La verdad que no sé, puta, me he levantado tarde, me he levantado como a las 10. He tomado desayuno tarde, así que la verdad que por ahora no tengo mucha hambre. Jürgen, ¿cómo estás? Gracias por el like, hermano. Bienvenido. Última ronda de la primera parte del tercer mapa. G2 ganando 9-5. No, van a cocinar hoy día, Rodri. No sé qué van a cocinar, pero van a cocinar. $10-5 para G2. Complicado porque, bueno, en general gente es un mapa relativamente balanceado, ¿no? Pero a mi parecer es un poco más terro. Es un poco más terro. Entonces yo creo que Furia ha debido aprovechar de sacar más rondas ahí. Porque ahora se les pone cuesta arriba. Ahora acá había un cosito que me hablaba de G-Space para bajarse apps de Google. Creo que hay que tomarlo en cuenta. Ay, ay, ay. Empezaron con fuerza para B. Apps predeterminadas. Yo creo que todo indica que se la lleva G2, ¿eh? Es verdad. Esta primera empezó Furia ganando, ¿eh? Empezó Furia ganando. Uno versus dos, queda Safi nomás en un clutch. Ahí te lo va a encontrar, ahí te lo va a encontrar. No, ya se fue. Todo el Imperdona no tiene ni idea de dónde está, así que tiene la ventaja. Se da todo el vueltón. No creo que se lo esperen por ahí, ¿ah? Ahora sí se complica un poco. Ahí le va a salir. ¡No! ¡No, huevón! Lo tenía alineado y a Nico lo tenía de espaldas. ¡Puta madre! Lo que he estado viendo más bien ahora en la Major es que en Ancient todo el mundo gana esa zona agresivazo, weón. Esa zona de oscuro, súper agresivo. Meten una molly, meten un smoke y ganan esa zona sea como sea, weón. Interesante eso. Uy, miren lo que ha hecho Art. El flank a los dos, la bomba y uno más ya se le separaron. Se la va a tener un poco más complicada. Ay, Art, ¿qué estás haciendo? Puta, qué maestro, huevón. Qué buena jugada. Trigger Discipline. No sé cómo se coló por atrás. Oh, lo que le pega a drop. Y se van a salir. Se van a ir con la suya aquí en esta rondita de eco. Que le hicieron linda. Puta, toda esa ronda se la hizo el buen Art con su CZ. Un crack. Un crack. Y otra vez con la CZ a pesar de que ya tenía arma. A este. ¿Qué tal jugada de Arta? Se la hizo linda. ¡Oh! Empieza a cortar la distancia, gente. 11-7. Cualquier cosa puede pasar, ¿no? Agresivo, weón, lo visto bueno para ganar toda la zona de medio, de todo, weón. Mira cómo ganan el mapa en one, los dejan encerrados a los DPs, weón. Y ahí lo que hacen es lo demoran hasta que queda tan poco tiempo que ya los terroristas empiezan a quedar sin alternativa. ¿No? Y pa' concha están en eco. O sea, está complicado. Ya tienen menos de un minuto para ejecutar, para tomar una decisión. Qué buena jugada, bueno. Puta, Monsi podría ser mi hijo, creo, mano. A ver esas utilidades. La plaza se lo dejaron blanco. Pero Yuri ya estaba esperando para el trade. Entra con todo solo a plantar. Yuri, ¿le sale el wallbang o no sale el wallbang? No salió el wallbang. 3 versus 4, bomba plantada. Ya tienen un AK. Puede estar peligroso esto, ¿ah? Uy, cómo lo vio, weón, cómo lo vio. Ah, puta, no se llevan a ninguno, what the fuck. Ahí está el otro ya. Se les complica. Agarra un arma, agarra un arma. Ya lo tienes cerca, Casi, casi. ¿Cómo lo miraron allá atrás, weón? Ya había pasado uno y aún así, weón. Sí, ya estamos viejos, Rodri, weón. Ya estamos más allá que acá, ¿sí o no? Puta, qué rico tener 15 años de nuevo, cero preocupaciones, sin responsabilidades, ir al colegio. Éramos felices y no lo sabíamos. ¿Otra eco han hecho? A la mierda, doble eco, weón. Bueno, tienen varias rondas encima. Bueno, 3. Ahorita esta probablemente la pierdan. Se va a reducir a 2 y cualquier cosa puede pasar. Qué buen pique sea. Apunten ese boost. Estrada, apunte ese boost para hacer en Ancient, ¿tá? Con la P. Uff, lo que podría hacer con una P con ese boost, weón. Ay, ay, ay. Ya lo vieron. Qué buen shoulder pick, weón. Los tres ahí diciendo, ¿y ahora qué chucha hacemos? Están cagados. Ya los escucharon, ¿no? Izquierda, puta, hasta yo sabía que estaba del otro lado. ¿Qué fue, mano? ¿Qué fue, Nico? Ya que agresivos salen a ganar el mapa, weón. Es increíble esa weá. Ahora sí ya están con todo el valle, ¿eh? Ahora sí. Les faltó algo de utilidades. Doble eco y no han podido comprar, weón. Que los dejaron misios, ¿ah? Eso que están con bonus, creo, ¿no? 5 AKs. Sí, es verdad. Nico ha bajado su level. Creo que desde que falló ese tiro de Deagle en Nuke, la Major pasada, ya no sé. Se le ha bajado la moral, weón. Lo cagaron a Keiserato. Quedó ciego, mientras Jax viene por el otro lado, pero ya lo están piqueando de ruinas. Ejecutan B, pero será B. Es fake en B. Uy, no, se metió Nico. Uy, lo hundieron Safe en esa posición. Hunter cuenta, hace trade. Medio Keiserato impasable en Dona Keiserato, ¿eh? Qué bestia, weón. Impasable, man. Otra ronda más para Furia, gente, ¿eh? 11-9. 11-10. Solamente una ronda los separa. Se pusieron las pilas los de Furia. Cualquier cosa puede pasar. Cualquier cosa. Oye, Monsi cambió de faca, ¿no? Visto, tiene una faca para CT y una para TT, como yo. Once a 11, gente. 11 a 11. Bueno, puedo desbloquear la tablet con patrón. ¿Esto qué fue? Claro, puta, Monsi es crack, weón. Es crack, todavía sigue siendo churro. Yo creo que, puta, va a ser uno de los mejores jugadores del mundo si es que no lo es ya. Kennedy, gracias por el like, hermano, bienvenido. Le voltearon el partido, gente. 12-11 para Furia, weón. Puta, no puedo creer lo que estamos viendo, ¿ah? No puedo creer que se la lleve Furia. Puta, no creo que G2 lo permita. Sería algo sin precedentes. Furia no ha ganado ninguna Major, ¿no? ¿O sí? ¿Una, creo? 13-11, weón. Yo le voy a G2, mano. Yo le voy a G2, pero... Está complicado, ¿ah? Parece que se la lleva Furia, weón. ¿Qué puta? ¿Qué manera de Furia de ganar el mapa de CT, weón? Increíble lo agresivos que son, weón. Increíble, ¿eh? Me han sorprendido. Line, ¿cómo estás? Gracias por el like, hermano. Bienvenido. Ay, ay, ay. Uno menos. Hacen el trade tardío, pero sale. Tres versus 3, bomba dropeada. 13 segundos, 13 segundos. No, Furia se lleva otra ronda, mano. No, no. ¡Ah! Puta, sí le plantó, ¿eh? Sí le plantó. 2 versus 2, bomba plantada, se recupera. Monsi ya sabe dónde está, tiene la P, le saca el tiro y lo falla. Ya se movió, ya se movió, ya se movió. ¡Ah, la shit! ¡Ah, la shit! Esto va a estar complicado. La está sacando, mano. ¡No! ¡Hunter! ¿Qué? ¿Qué hizo Hunter? Creo que no lo escuchó por la deto, ¿no? Creo que como justo tiró la deto y timeó la explosión de la deto con la defusada, no lo escuchó, weón. Puta madre, Hunter, regalaste la ronda, manito, ¿qué hiciste? Pero no creo que haya creído que era fake, porque habían dos. Entonces era obvio que uno iba a estar defusando y el otro iba a estar apuntando. No sabían dónde estaba, pero creo que fue lo de la deto. Creo que timeó la deto para que justo cuando explotara, defusara, y por eso Hunter no lo escuchó, weón. La cagó ahí Hunter, ¿eh? Prácticamente regaló la partida. Ay, 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 ay. 2 versus 4. A G2 se le va la partida. Puta, ¿por qué hacen esos execute tan tardíos, mano? ¿Por qué, weón? Ay, concha su máquina. 15-11 para Furia, gente. Se le va, weón. Se le va. Uy, 5 versus 3, pero tienen 4 oportunidades todavía para match point, así que así pierdan esta, todavía tienen la ventaja a su favor, ¿eh? ¡Ay, no! No, ¿cómo les voltean esos 2 versus 2? 1 versus 2 con 8 de vida, Nico. No, se le va. Se le va. Puta lo que pega Nico, concha su máquina. ¿Dónde está Keiserato? Ahí está, ya sabe que la bomba está dropeada a 47 segundos. Nico puede ser el salvador por lo menos de esta ronda y lo que haga puede hacer que su equipo tenga todavía alguna posibilidad. ¡Ay, Dios mío! Qué ajuste, weón. 30 segundos. 30 segundos y Nico no avanza. Tienes que empezar a avanzar, Nico. Tienes que empezar a avanzar. 20 segundos. Se le va. ¡Avanza, Nico! No tiene idea dónde está. Yo creo que ya está sentenciado, mi amigo Nico. Está sentenciado. Lo van a ver. Lo van a ver. Puta madre. Se la llevó Furia, gente. ¿Qué tal machecito? ¿Qué tal machecito? Qué increíble lo que acaba de pasar, gente. Increíble. También en la cara de los de G2 completamente devastados.
And the new edition, Monacy will not see the major playoffs.
Toca, gente, que tengo que configurar acá una
that
cosita.
Luxury denied by Furia. Brazil have been kicking up a fuss and making a storm here in Antwerp.
Y ahora quiero enseñarles algo que ya configuré, miren.
But with Furia.
Ya tengo la tablet.
You can see the emotion and just the juxtaposition.
Que voy a usar como stream deck.
Right here, the pure
Entonces yo acá
this is massive work right here. Furia with 4 return back to that stage. Back-to-back majors.
Acá,
you can see what
sin
it means.
tocar nada en la
on art
PC,
here.
puedo cambiar de
This is
escena.
his first time on a major stage. It means the world to these guys. This is everything that they work for here, and to take on such a massive opponent of G2 and deny them one step away.
Cuando aprieto acá,
Seeing if they can get themselves back into another major final. Look at the emotion here. This is what it's all about. This is what it's all about.
Vamos, ya está configurado, gente.
Saving a last round as well. Is the only dude there. And they'll be replaying some of those moments.
Ganó Furia, Rodri, ganó Furia.
Round, I mean.
It's the classic art maneuver, isn't it? Pulling off something when nobody expects anything at all. It was a miracle that he even slipped into that position, and you see G2 just absolutely shattered. They didn't have the same level of playmakers available to them in a match like this. They worked hard on Inferno to draw it back into a 1-1. It just wasn't enough here. Ancient, Furia looking hot to trot. This is beautiful stuff.
Pues la tabletcita la pongo por acá.
Can you quite believe it? The way in which it was found as well. full 3 maps. We find an end on Ancient, and it is some hijinks in the first half.
Ahorita les voy a mostrar cómo quedó el setup.
It has to be those 2 rounds. That's what it comes down to here. The Tech 9 in the first half on the T side, where they went out in a 2v3 post plant on the A side. That got them into the T half. You think it was a 10-5 first half. That got them 3 rounds. It was 3 rounds of their 5. And then in the second half of play, Art. It's Art. He absolutely stopped G2.
He's 3 and 14. 3 and 14, and then essentially wins the Ancient just from the future. What a play, what a frag.
What a game.
What a game. Yeah, that is the end of that. We do have more Counter-Strike around the corner, but first let's try and screw our heads on tight with the analyst desk.
Unbelievable scenes. FURIA make it to the playoff stage over G2 Esports. We are going to get an interview with one of the players, I hope very soon, but yeah, I think Machine said it very well. This is what it is all about, or it was Sponge about, when you see those players on either side of the coin, right? You see how much that goes into it. Just seeing them breaking out in tears on the side of FURIA as well, because this was by no means an easy game to win.
You put your everything in the game. That's what this is about. I think game number 5 of the Legend stage is so special, so peculiar, right? You are one step away from greatness, one step away from disappointment and sorrow. Of course, both teams have aspirations, expectations to make it to the playoff, to that ever so crowded stage, but unfortunately for G2 that won't cut it. But you love to see the emotion from FURIA. You absolutely love to see it.
I love it. I mean, the fact that they were able to summon some crunch time magic, FURIA, in that one. When it got down to the wire, I was shocked at how well they were just able to hold their nerve. There were a variety of plays that G2 was throwing at FURIA in that game, but every single time it felt like FURIA was just finding multi-frag after multi-frag. Everybody chimed in. Really, so many great moments from the individuals, and I think even some of the youngsters, they didn't have the best Ancient, but they still delivered it. Drop, he didn't get, there was this moment where Drop just had to stay alive forever and ever. He kept jiggling out Monacy, jiggling it out, enabling Caserado. He doesn't get anything on the stat line for those moments, but they are massive in the context of the game and this victory.
It's the calm. It's the calm that they show in a moment that matters the most. As you're saying, Drop, not moving. How many times have we seen players just succumb to willing to peak, being impatient, being nervous? No, they stayed in it. The resilience, the mental fortitude that FURIA showed, they were never, ever going to give up any round.
Yeah, and I think we talk a lot about energy for teams and like expending energy and doing it at the right times when you get to 3 maps. They were actually very calm, I think, for a Brazilian team in general throughout this, right? They kept it, and they kept it also in those crucial moments in the end where they had to be calm. And then at the end, it was just the explosion. It was all that hard work, all those, I want to say also a bit of disappointments in the last couple of weeks, right? Really needed to clean it up to book their ticket there. Before we get to the interview, Maui, G2, yeah, out of the major, Muncie will not make it to the big stage. It's a hard one to swallow.
It's a bitter disappointment for G2 and the fans of G2, because this gives fuel to the haters for that side of things. That T side, even though it was actually structured very well and there was a deep playbook there that was being exercised by Alexi B, he only was able to manage a single round on the offense. And for their team, that is unacceptable. This is going out with a whimper in the final half of everything that just went down in what was such a hard-fought battle in that best of 3 to only get a single round, and you banned to get Ancient there. They banned Mirage in that second phase, Maniac.
It's the map conversation. Yeah. It's the map conversation. No matter how brilliant a roster you have, if you don't have the map pool, you are not going to make it. But now, let's have because we have the man coming over. GG's, man.
Setup.
How you doing?
There you go, there you go. Monitores, las 2 webcams y la vaina esta. Y bien, mira, acá yo puedo cambiar las escenas directamente.
About the final round and then about just the explosion of emotions and happiness.
No sé por qué ahora sale así.
It's hard to say. We are feeling that we're gonna win.
Deberían salir las escenas.
The city half, we're just hyping up as much as we can, and the pressure is just too high. But our emotions come out when you win. It's like everything explodes.
Yeah, it was lovely to see, and I think you had such a crucial role in what was a very difficult map, I feel like, for you, because obviously, generally for an IGL, but also with the pressure, how do you think you did, and what do you think made the difference? Why were you stronger than G2 on Ancient?
The city, the individuals on my team was the difference. I actually didn't play that well. I got carried by my team on the Ancient. We did a lot of mistakes that was team mistakes, but everybody did their job to win the game.
I want to ask how prepared you felt going on Ancient. Did you know that there was going to be a little bit of chaos? Because I think it was one of the reasons why you won. I think you guys were able to stay calm in very critical moments. Is that how you feel?
Por ejemplo, este.
Yeah, I felt
se cambia el escena en automático.
That's why we let it go for the last map. We were prepared to play them.
Do you think that there was maybe a weakness in their map?
Ahora sí, claro, es como el stream deck, tal cual. Tal cual.
Yeah, of course that we are happy playing Vertigo always. It's our very strong map for us, and also Ancient, we are very confident. Inferno, that's a map that we are working on, that we can see that we have a lot of gaps still, but we are very confident we could win that.
Art, tell me about Drop and Safe, their development. When they first came on this roster, I think there were a lot of questions. I think that people liked the move to get Safe. I think people were still confused about Drop, but we've seen their impact now in this. But what do you have to say about what they bring to your team?
They are amazing people, not just players, but people. They have the heads, their shoulders. They're always trying to hype the team up. They're giving their best, and they love the game. They want to do their best to win, and that's what they need in the team.
What do you think then about the stalwart duo of K-Serato and Yuri? It feels like they're Mr. Dependables.
Yeah, like they're the core of the team. Like the consistency comes out of them, so you always rely on them to close up hard rounds and just play consistent.
Sucio el teclado, ¿no?
Just
play limpiarlo nomás, pero está bien.
One thing about your opponents though, what did G2 do in this game though that made this such a difficult victory?
I feel like that's our T-side. We could have done a lot more, and I felt like they rotated very, very well. Like we never went into a side, and we managed to get a clear plant and play after plants every time we played the ball.
Oye, ¿por qué no se ve mi cámara, weón? La madre, esta weá está que se raya feo.
Out of court like 3 times playing A.
You said you had a rough game, but I believe we have a really good round for you on tape. I believe it's 18. Yes, here we go.
So that's going to be you sneaking behind. And you have to tell us how you feel in this moment. How do you feel right there?
I feel like this one, I cannot miss the first shot in the head. This God, make it go in the head.
Even pros think that.
Yeah, because if I miss the first headshot, I'm dead for sure for the second guy. And each headshot, body shot, otherwise I'm not doing anything, gonna lose the round, it's gonna be a tough game.
What's the communication when you spot them?
No, lo voy a limpiar, mano. Funciona perfecto igual el teclado.
Guys, 2A, 2 mid, they're not in the side yet, there's 2A, 2 mid, don't die please, don't die, just go A and hold. That was
the pressure.
Amazing. Congratulations, you're now in the playoffs, and I think this is kind of also, you've done a lot of work, but this is where there's even more work to be done, right? And you as a team out of FURIA, out of Brazil, I know that the pressure that the fans put on all of you is enormous. How do you feel that you could give them this victory, and what do you want to say to them?
No, yeah, like the pressure is just because they love CS so much and they want to see a Brazilian team succeed. So that's why they have such high expectations. And if I would say anything, I just want to say that I love all the support. Can I say that in português?
Of course.
Rapaziada, onde está a câmera aqui? Rapaziada, muito obrigado por tudo, velho. Vocês são foda pra caralho. Quase
foda pra caralho.
O Tribunete tá em peso, velho. Só agradecer a todo mundo que
Janela.
acreditou.
Mas pra todo mundo.
Nosso máximo pra buscar esse Major pra nós. E bora torcer hoje que tem Imperial mais tarde, mano. Bora terceiro, a gente vai estar lá torcendo pelos caras pra nós se encontrar lá no final do Major, mano. Bora.
Okay, did you say Imperial's gonna make it and maybe we play them in the final?
Yeah, that would be insane. I really want to see that. Like, I really want to see that. Not in the quarterfinals, but of course in the finals.
Do you think they can do it versus Copenhagen Flames?
Yeah, I think they can do it for sure.
Okay.
How do you feel about Vini in there? You know, finding a little bit of success. You happy for him?
Yeah, I'm really happy. Like, it's like the way they made to the playoffs, to the major, and now they're fighting for the playoffs. It's such a great story. It's amazing.
Okay, obrigada. Thank you very much. Congratulations. We're going to take a quick break because, as said, one more Imperial up versus the Copenhagen Flames after this.
A ver, Imperial, ¿a qué hora fue Imperial? Pero Copenhagen versus Imperial. 12:40, en 4 minutos arranca. Bueno, ya aseguré mi piquen, eso sí. Ya aseguré mi piquen porque le atiné al 3-0 de Navi, al 0-3 de Bad News Eagles. Ahora esta vaina que ya no necesitamos ahí. Aseguré, bueno, G2 no, pero Face ya está, Furia ya está, ENS creo que ya pasó también, ¿no? Sí, ENS, Face, ENS, Furia, Nave, ya está. Ya tengo los 5. Falta definir Vitality nomás, porque Outsiders, Cloud9 y G2 ya están fuera. Si Vitality gana, tengo 6, pero igual ya aseguré mis 5. Así que de alguna manera estoy tranquilo. Y mañana ya arranca la Champions Stage, que va a ser
Now that's what we call major. 14 days of high-octane action. 14 days of high-octane action. 14 days of fierce battles.
Oye, pero hoy día
14 days of special bonuses from GG Bet.
A ver.
Whoop, cheer, and make your fortune.
Algo no estoy viendo bien. Perdón, Heroic ya le ganó a Vitality. Yo estaba viendo huevadas. Heroic ya le ganó a Vitality. Pero esto, ¿por qué no se actualiza? Ahora sí, no estaba actualizado. Ya está, entonces quedan Navi, Spirit, Phasens, Nip, Heroic, Furia y está entre estos dos, Imperial y Copenhagen. Entonces yo ya tengo a Navi, a Phase, a Ens. Le atiné al 3, 1, 2, 3. Tengo a Furia, ya está, ahí están los 5.
There is one last seat in the arena. On the one side, we have the Copenhagen Flames, who are fighting the demons that they have for a year now. When a year ago, they got knocked out by NIP and didn't make it to the playoff stage. On the other side, we have the absolute legends of the game, underestimated at every step of the way, looking to turn that last dance into an endless samba. Imperial. What a match we have ahead of us, and it is so poetic that it is the very last one, because what a story coming out of both of those sides with the hopes of making it to the Palace.
It would be insane for both these squads in order to qualify for the playoff. No one would have expected Imperial to be nowhere near going into the Legend States, nowhere near even going into the arena, but the fact of the matter is they're only one series away from getting there. Whereas for Copenhagen Flames, it's a team that last major they had a chance, this time around they've had a couple of chances, but they've been bottling a little bit, right? And now they stand against Imperial in the final game. No matter who wins this one, that's going to be a massive W.
Yes, and standing against them, Imperial, Fallen, and in Fallen's illustrious career, there aren't many firsts left for him to accomplish.
No.
But this would be the first time that he comes all the way from down 0-2 to actually make it all the way. So there is history to be made here for Fallen and the rest of Imperial.
And let's talk about how I think they finally convinced the masses that didn't believe in them yesterday versus Cloud9. I think a lot of people would say all the other games, okay, well, the resistance maybe wasn't that strong. You cannot deny it now. They are a force to be reckoned with, because the way they set aside Cloud9, not just on Overpass, but on Mirage, the timeless class is the only way I can describe it.
Yeah, it's vintage performances again and again and again from Imperial. There's nothing you can doubt about the nerve that these guys hold and the championship blood that flows within them. These guys, in the crunch time moments, have no doubts about what they need to do, how they need to execute their game plans, and in 3v3s, it feels like they are always the coolest of the bunch.
Listen, we constantly talk about experience, but what is it on the server that actually showcases that?
Se llama Freya.
We talked about it. We tried to quantify how is it Imperial are playing Counter-Strike. Very simple, you know, very simple, but they do it together. They master the fundamentals, always flashing for each other, always setting up for a trade frag, and they're playing the 5v4 situations to almost perfection. Imperial is a team that is not really coming out with any new strats or any new fundamentals in terms of how you play Counter-Strike. They go back to the old roots and they do it with quality.
With quality indeed. They are up against the Copenhagen Flames. We already introduced it. They were in this position a year ago. They couldn't make it in that last match.
Probablemente no voy a poder ver el match completo.
The Swiss system, right? You get
Porque en un
chances,
ratito
one goes to the wayside, the other goes to the wayside. This is
ya llega mi hijo y mi esposa y me voy a almorzar con ellos.
Focus on a lot of the positives we've seen out of the Copenhagen Flames. For instance, that Inferno game versus FaZe. Flames. For instance, that Inferno game versus FaZe, right? The fraggers on that team that can really make a mark. They're gonna have to channel that all today.
But players like Yabby have shown that they are mechanically some of the toughest opposition for anybody here, even the big dogs like FaZe, and you know that Imperial isn't going to have an easy time dealing with them. People like Nikodogs as well have put their name into the lexicon of the regular players, the average fans. They have made their mark, and it is time for them to secure their spot into the playoffs. They were so close last time around at the Stockholm Major. This time, they're looking to one-up themselves.
I just want to point it out for the viewers at home, the history with the Stockholm Major, right? They go up against NIP in that matchup as well. They win the first map, lose the following two. Against Spirit in this tournament, they win the first map, lose the following two. Against FaZe, they win the first map, lose the following two. They've had 6 maps, they've had 6 points, match points in order to qualify for the players, and they failed at every single turn. Now against Imperial, they have to make it happen.
Yeah, and it couldn't be better in terms of like also the matchups of the IGLs. I think Hooksy has actually had really good moments versus FaZe, you know, how he was finding the rotations and the ideas, but it isn't necessarily going to all come down to the ideas. It's going to be about first up playing your structural Counter-Strike to the highest level, and we know, Maui, that they are good at that, right? The Copenhagen Flames, the protocols and the setups and the whatnot, but I have a sneaking suspicion that with Fallen on the other side, Imperial's also going to be pretty good at that. It's completely dependent on the map, of course.
You can come into a game against Imperial and think you are the better team. You can think that you've produced the better results in recent history, that your form, everything is working in your favor, but it is when you are staring down against the barrel of players like Fallen and seeing the vintage and just retro performances of people like FNX coming into the server, people like Fur, that they just are there to disrupt. They are constantly going to make you second guess yourselves.
Let's talk about Fur just a little bit, right? I think a lot of people, when this roster came together, thought, okay, Vinny after Furia, he's really going to be that heavy hitter. He hasn't been as much as Fur. Fur is ranked above people like Simple and Zywoo when it comes to this point in the tournament. That is insanity. That is turning back the clock.
The fact of the matter is that if Fur will win this game today, and if he will play well today, he's going to be an MVP candidate for the entire major. He's played some fantastic Counter-Strike, and the history of Fur is quite interesting, because we knew him back in the days to be a player that always would play well, wouldn't necessarily be the guy who played a lot of deathmatch, wouldn't necessarily be the guy who played a lot of individual Counter-Strike, but as long as he practiced with the team, and as long as he felt comfortable within the system, he would always perform. Then he takes a bit of a leave, he comes back, plays a couple of games for 0-0 Nation, they got absolutely nothing done, and I thought to myself, sure, Fur comes back, he's maybe going to be all right, but to see him back at his best, that is very, very impressive.
On the other side, no slouches in terms of performance either. Nikodos, Roy, Hooksy, they all have their moments. Jabby, I mean, they have firepower, they definitely do. But what can they do, and on which map is it going to be? Dust2 out of the pool, Ancient also out of the pool. What's going to be the first map?
I think that is a very solid pick already for Imperial to go for Inferno. Even though we just saw Copenhagen Flames win that one, it's still been a problem map for them in the past, so it's supposed to be a punish. Vertigo coming out for Copenhagen Flames, that is the biggest punish. We have seen Imperial have such difficulties on the map in so many different respects.
It's very simple right here. Imperial, they have to win Inferno if they want to make this game competitive. Overpass being the third decider map, that is interesting, because that's a map both teams like. But Imperial, as we spoke about yesterday, they're undefeated in 2022. They took down Cloud9 in a double overtime yesterday. So for Copenhagen Flames to get out to Overpass, all of a sudden, I would say this matchup is 50-50.
Oh, okay. Great. What would you have said before, just so we know?
I mean, just looking at the map right now, I think Copenhagen Flames have a much higher chance of making an upset winning Inferno than Imperial would have to upset Copenhagen Flames Vertigo. So I want to give Flames 2 chances sort of to end this series 2-0. I feel relatively comfortable that if Imperial were to win this series, they have to do it 2-2.
What a Vertigo ban have been better, actually, come to look at it?
Ooh, I mean, I don't think that Imperial can really move away from banning Ancient in the first phase. It's just not something that they've worked with. That being said, I'm in a similar camp to Pimp. I think that for some reason, I think that this is going to go 3 maps. I really do. I think this is going to go the full distance. We're going to get the playoff setting up match that we deserve as fans here. And I really do think that when it comes down to holding your nerve, we've seen one team rise above everybody else, and it has been Imperial.
Yeah, what a weight on the shoulders. We are not far away from getting into the server, Pimp, but lay out the lay of the land for us once again, one last time before we get into it, and what is at stake for these two?
I mean, stylistically speaking, you're not going to see 2 more different teams going toe-to-toe. We talk about the happy nerds in Copenhagen Flames who always innovate the game, always come in with a new smoke, a new way of taking map control, and you talk about the old guards from Imperial who play the same brand of Counter-Strike right now as they did in 2015. They do it super, super well, but I can't help to think that both of these lineups are a little bit scared. You know, they know that one serious away. Copenhagen Flames have been pissing in their pants a little bit.
Yes,
you know,
they have.
The tournament. I met them at the toilet just before, so you're not
Vini nos representa ahí, se lo
not gonna happen this time around.
Insight there.
But I think both these fans will feel the nerves. Even Imperial being the most experienced guys, they can feel the pressure.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone has been against them, but now they're starting to believe. And what are you going to do with that belief, Imperial? Are you going to bring it home, or is it going to be the Copenhagen Flames finally getting to those playoffs? Let's get into our first map.
Folks, please pardon my French, but I'll be the first to say it. Holy shit, this is real.
Yeah.
This is happening. We've got Imperial a single best of 3 from making a top 8 run in Antwerp. And Copenhagen Flames are sitting on their 5th attempt at major playoffs. Every single one of those attempts, they take a map win. But every single one of those attempts, they have also fallen short. It is do or die for the Copenhagen Flames. Here on Inferno, we kick it off quickly, already down to the bottom of the middle. We have Roy and Hooksy with a kill apiece for equalizing, 3 versus 3. And nobody even really gets a chance to set in. These guys have been waiting all days to take these gloves off and start swinging.
Hey, that's a bit of a statement, right? I think a lot of people looking at this match and think, all right, well, if Flames play with confidence on paper, they probably still are the better team, even though Imperial were able to beat Cloud9 yesterday. But that's what we said about Cloud9. Imperial still won. So for Copenhagen Flames, I think playing with confidence is a huge factor in this matchup. Like you just pointed out, they've had multiple attempts to get into playoffs and never have. So this is a mental battle, just as much as it is a straight up pure quality of CS battle. Imperial have shown some great stuff already, and this veto has made this so damn interesting. The fact that we don't even start off with overpass like we did in that Cloud9 match, but Imperial managed to float it and still get it in the end. This throws things up into question. When the dust settles, it's still 3-on-3. Taking over Hall's control.
First fury of fisticuffs comes to an end. Vinny and Fur at the front of this push. 3 players in from
arrancó el match. Vamos. Arrancó el match.
Bomb still ticking. Fur left and right. And it's Nikodas to kiss him goodnight.
CPH
con Flames with the first.
Yeah, we see Nikodas have a consistently good impact and never, I think, at the top of the scoreboard.
En el partido anterior no se escuchaban los comentarios, ¿se acuerdan?
Sometimes by Roy, but in terms of hard shots, good trades, we see Nikodas consistently perform pretty clutch overall as well. And this round still gets a plant off for Imperial, right? So off the pistol, it's potential for a buy, especially with the kills that came in. Okay, first a Galil will be bought up, and this affects what Copenhagen will invest into as well. Only a single MP9 for them. These days, plant is damn near close to a win on the pistol, so it is still a scary situation. Oh, that's off the mark.
And he's gonna sit in that pocket. Oh, yeah, down, and he's the first to fall. Oh, nice nade though. Hooksy, quick response. Utility usage looking good. And Imperial still just gonna lean back in the 4v4. They hold, they wait.
Yeah, there's the gun retrievable here because, you know, it got fallen on just the Tech 9. They're still waiting for pushes, but now...
Mi carro no, más bien Rodri, mi carro lo voy a vender, Ya no está modificado, está de stock.
I think, yeah,
pero lo voy a vender.
MP9, right? Coming down banana, so that's not really an upgrade. But then the
no
Leo will be something.
No le voy a hacer nada, pues.
Make sure that corner is clear. And it is picked up. Weapons amassed. Looking to move in on Hooksy. Has no support here. Smoke grenade to be his best friend. Fur gonna take the bolt strain.
No sé todavía cuál me voy a comprar, pero
lead him in the wrong direction. That late smoke could have made the difference here. 2 CTs.
Es un
Daddy to the site. Nikodas under balcony. He's got the
También es
M4.
uno así medio deportivo, bonito. que podría ser una opción. No, camioneta Nika. Camioneta no. Yo soy más de autos que de camioneta. ¡Oh! ¡Oh! ¡Fallen! Dios mío, weón. Thorin de mierda, weón. Oh, lo cagaron. Pero puta, es un jugador Fallen. Thorin se debe estar comiendo sus palabras. ¿Se acuerdan de Thorin, el que hizo el comment ese de que Fallen estaba sobrevalorado?
Yeah, 2 up on that spot, and it's a good initial setup. They trade out really well. It gets mildly scary with the 2 entries from Fallen. That's probably nice for the confidence. Takes the money down a little bit here for Copenhagen Flames. Keep it honest off the fact that they had 2 rifles and some pistols behind it. So half investment here as Fallen picks up a scout, and the Flames though they gotta feel good. They've survived the first 2. It's relatively comfortable, and they know this is going to be the worst buy of the 3.
It did feel with that victory over Cloud9 yesterday, Londers, that the public, the general consensus, the emotion, the feeling, we all get swept away by it, and it kind of felt like, oh, they're going to make this happen. But I think to write off Copenhagen Flames has kind of become the narrative. I think that would be a huge mistake as well.
Oh!
This is a team again.
Dios mío,
nice kill from
¿vieron ese wall shot?
They came into this as 2-0,
Maestro,
and we look back to their run in Sweden. We look to Stockholm. Well, they already had losses. They had 2 chances there, and one was versus Heroic, so that one was an understandable loss. NIP, that was the closer of the affairs.
¿Quiénes son estos de Copenhagen?
They improved on that mark here. Their first game to get into the stadium versus Spirit. That was supposed to be the Cinderella story, that they had to wait another major, that they survived all of the woes of the online CS and the contract problems and whatever was going on with team offers and whatnot.
It's the best possible opponent in that sense, because it's technically maybe a weaker opponent than some of the other teams they've faced, but they've also lost to. They have potential to have beaten all of the opponents they've come into. That's the only reason they were burgeoning on the fact that they could make playoffs in the first place. So it's almost entirely been mental for Copenhagen Flames, and what Imperial have proved is that they are the kings of the mental, and that has actually stood above all of the on-paper results.
Nikodas with the crossfire here as Fur looks to lurk. There he goes.
Qué buena smoke esa. Yo decía, ¿por qué la ha tirado tan atrás? Mira lo que hizo.
Hold between the 2 of them, and Imperial now finally going to come in with those full real guns.
We were talking about a very strong map pool as well versus Imperials. That does have a glaring hole in Vertigo. But not too long ago, we were talking about Copenhagen Flames not being super strong on Inferno. And when they played against FaZe, they actually got it together. And they strengthened up over on the B site on their CT side. They were meeting their quota. They got a 10-5 half in that game. So they clearly have put work into the map. So this was very risky for Imperial to take it here, knowing that Vertigo is up next. Even if Overpass is waiting for them at the end, it's not promised that they'll get there.
Early grenades over the top, good damage. If you can stun Fur, if you can bring him down to 70, prime those A1Ss for a single bullet kill, it's a good place to be in. Fur has really been that outlier, that standout performance from Imperial. We look at Copenhagen Flames, it's a 5-man core sometimes. Maybe we say 4 and round up. Roy rounds down 2
yo no sé
players.
mucho de camioneta. Mi esposa ya tiene camioneta. Si necesitamos camioneta, usamos la de ella. Yo me compré un carrito nomás, pero sí quiero cambiar el mío porque el mío es solo 2 puertas. Si quiero uno de 4 puertas.
So solid right there. They tried to, with the Molly, peek at the exact same time for the bracket control to keep someone's hands busy, but 3 players in that kind of classic Virtus Pro lane setup with the high-low stack and another rifler right beside them on the bicycle, and they all peek and do their job. I mean, that's all Roy with that spray straight up. Playing anti on the top of the balcony as well, so that's why he wasn't blind. On top of the roof, I should say. And Imperial now go back into a half-buy, defending against 5 here.
It's going to be pressure towards Banana quick. Frags into the corners. And the Flames unscathed for the most part.
Oh, qué buena de esto.
Oh, that one's good. Right to the chest of Yabby. Down to 50 health now.
Sí, un sedán.
Those pistols could pop off. They're also going to just go for this walk towards mid. Nikodas holding the line. He's got Roy right next to him, tucked in the cubby. First shot, great. No trade. Fallen, sent to the bench. Utility now comes out with Copenhagen Flames, and that'll continue to hold Imperial back as we near that minute mark.
están pasando por encima los de Copenhagen, ¿no?
They like to take it slow.
Pero ¿de quién es este pick?
But at the same time, they clock into a round, they're always working.
Voy a ver de quién es el pick.
Oh, Siphon peeks into it down to a 3/4 health.
Y es pick de Imperial, ojo.
Arch misses this one.
Ojo que es pick de Imperial,
weón. To clean up both of those. The op shot's not necessary if Roy's right there for support. Vinny and Fur, 65 health between the two. They don't even have bombs, so gonna get a little bit closer towards this B site. Great flashbang, great first kill and confirmation. The Yabby's in this back. Flash on his feet. Oh, wait, hold on. Nice couple of kills, but remember the bomb. That's the big there's only 10 seconds. And for that reason, this one's going to come to a halt, but it is nice to see that Vinny's got a little spice to offer.
Sería un buen carro ese Mercedes.
And Vinny yesterday was unbelievable. I've never seen him op actually in the matches I can remember on FURIA, considering, you know, I played with Henny, with Junior for a bit. That was a situation where, you know, he was not going to get it, but he was off it yesterday versus Cloud9 on Mirage and hitting some actually really hard shots. As the secondary on the team, you know, that's new territory for Vinny. Played extremely well last night.
Hell of a game to become an opper.
Seriously. I actually can't think of a team that would be scarier to op against than Cloud9, but Imperial had no fear, and that's part of the reason that they won.
Roy has had some hot and cold performances throughout this stage of the major. Somebody that I think that the Flames really lean on.
Had a, you know, bad series versus FaZe. Of course, one of the hardest opponents, but also one of the most important times to perform. So that was a question. Maybe we'll get a second chance at the fight. If they win this match here, of course, winner just goes on to playoffs. That's what this is all about.
The last spot for the last dance. Or the last chance for Flames. Yeah, he gets into the corner. Oh, there it is. Oh. We saw a flash of that in the last round. Vinny with 2 kills towards B again, but they know Hooksy's here because he's doing a ton of damage. Oh, 3 kills from Vinny. And we've all heard the tales of Inferno. If he gives us 5 frags in back-to-back rounds like that, just quick and easy towards that B site, then there is a little life here. 5 in a row for the Copenhagen Flames to CT side, but Imperial have busted their way through, and Siphon's gonna bust up FNX and Fur, at least rack up some cost here. Nothing's free in this one.
Yeah, I think the hunt will be ended right there. That was an opportunity to stop the 2 CTs and in the next round, but Flames have enough money to buy anyways. Imperial know that. What's important is that they won this round without barely any trouble. I mean, they leaned completely on Vinny, and when we talk about Inferno, we talk about the CT side when he's playing on Banana. Is it Bo? Vinny?
He's committed to the cause.
Okay. He did too much that round. You know, Vinny, he's so remorseful, right? He killed all these people.
He felt awful about it.
He felt awful about it.
And yet he'll turn around and do it again if he has to.
So it's a murder-suicide for Vinny. He gets out of there at the end. I think he even planted that bomb.
Captain with his ship and whatnot. 6 rounds in.
Shot a spotlight on the banana. Put some pressure on. Oh, this is okay. This is something also that we saw from Copenhagen versus FaZe that I couldn't believe they were getting away with. And that was Nigel popping car. I mean, that is such an antiquated way of actually taking banana control. It's so risky. The weird part is that it was working extremely well versus a top team. But there are counters and there are huge risks, and right now that it's exposed.
Oh, Vinny tries to fire off. His fire finds his feet. A site with 2 players still leading Arch, but a quick reposition here from Roy, trying to put himself inside sight. Yabby tasked with playing Cubby.
Oh, the Molly's coming late in the Cubby, and the smoke is up too.
Now Roy is still on short, so maybe he peeks out to trade. Maybe he can save this. He's got 1, Vinny right there, but that's the trade back for Imperial. 4 versus 2. We have Siphon inside of the pit. Last time he gave us a multi-kill on this A-hold. He is just hoping that Hooksy can come over, gets the second, as he tears down FNX from that balcony, and a quick redirection here from Imperial. They sprint towards that B site, which is wide open for the taking.
Yeah, they pulled it. They got that Hooksy coming through the arch smoke. The moto smoke came down, and now they've got to run it back. And I mean, the odds changed so dramatically now that this site is open. I mean, they've literally got an op in this post plant and the bomb down in a free site. It's going to be very hard for Copenhagen to get away with some kind of sneaky rotation. I mean, everything is going to be watched.
They're going to have to be cautious as they arrive. Smoke soon to fade, fallen deep on new box, bolts holding on the coffins. That one flash that the CTs had has been thrown. It's straight up guns in the 2v2 and a critical conversion for Imperial to close. This was very
puta, campanas hizo el ace. ¿No? A 4 kills, puta, que crack campana.
And that's the guy we talk about probably the least.
No sé, mano, pero no lo tengo mapeado.
He is stealing the show. That was crazy. The shots that he just hit right there, again, a huge advantage in a post-plant situation for Imperial. Running to the other side of the map is not something you do often. If it was a 2-on-3, they would have instantly saved.
Damn, that was quick.
Had to be incredibly crispy. And look at the spacing by the time he gets the first kill. He's in the perfect spot to make sure that bolts can't turn around. A huge win, even though the mid-round idea for Imperial was solid. And that was literally 4v2 as Xiphon was holding down Pit at the beginning of the rounds.
Big one for the Copenhagen Flames. Nice grenade damage. Yeah, he falls back. He's going to ice out Mini. Fire both ways. Hooksy's going to have to retreat through it, and he will escape. He's back into that bomb site, but both of the B players now half health. No rotation just yet. But when it comes, it will be Nikadaz with that op. Imperial going to carve away some control towards Banana. That will draw the opper over. Crossfire set within sight.
I think one thing we've seen from Imperial is they're so good at sensing danger. If they feel like they've done enough work, they are really good at avoiding the more heavily stacked site. There's so much noise being made at quad. I'm not sure if any of that can be heard. But it looks like they are gearing up to put in the full B hit. With a boost on quad, and Nikadaz opens up.
Already valuable on that rotate. Hooksy decides to play a position that leaves him smoked off, but rock solid hold here from the Flames.
Man, I think they trust Xiphon, you know, with what we just saw that last round over on A. They make a good stack here. They put Nikadaz in the perfect spot. He could have been in a rotator position in CT spawn. Fallen goes down. And dude, that was Imperial going right into what Copenhagen Flames wanted. Exactly. I mean, they were shuffling around for so long back there, but it was all in order to specifically stop any kind of full B attack. There was no Molly emo on that one, so a first tack timeout will be called here for Imperial. To mull over things. They've got enough money to, you know, half buy. I don't know if a full investment comes in this situation because they're on full loss. There's actually not much incentive to fully invest.
Armored Tech 9's in utility. Galil is a bonus for Fur, who we haven't seen go lights out just yet. Right now it's Xiphon the king. Total control from Pit. That 2v4, man, his value in that round.
Yeah, he's creating just a highlight package with all of his holds. And I swear his HSP is basically 100% at this point.
So into this one, they're going to try to crank the dial. Oh, man, Yavi doesn't even see bolts. Not alive, that is. Dead body falls around the half wall. Utility to his end. And another volley of grenades sent down. Banana. This is the Flames to give just a bit of space over towards top mid. Xiphon again in Pit as
no se ve la mira personalizada de cada uno.
The Flames como la mira they are starting to be almost all of these rounds, not really scared of what Imperial can do.
A Imperial
and they are trying to specifically get them to overstack it with the amount of pressure they're putting on early.
Furs out of this one.
Se nos va Fallen, creo.
Smoke's not going to make that any easier. Hooksy on the attack from the back. They've already moved beyond this. FNX. Oh no, FNX, he retreats just a couple footsteps too far back and almost dies for it. It looks like Imperial, yeah, they know what they want. They're gonna chase him down. And if they just go all in on this chase, kill Hooksy, they could even get a bomb plant. And then you've got a live wire of a round, although the CT's just sprinting over as quickly as they can. Hooksy locks into the new box, 2 players on the support cross. Javi's in with a kill, and Hooksy's got one of his own. It's locked out for the Copenhagen Flames, 8-1.
They're playing lucid CS. They're not overthinking things. They realize, what Imperial can do there. At most, they have to follow any kill they can, and Hooksy gave him an opportunity to run over to the B site, so they went ahead and took it. But they know that was all just to ready themselves for this next buy-up. So Fallen will purchase up and up, and everybody will have the utility they need. So far, so good for the Flames. I mean, they have almost no holes in their setup right now. We've seen one great round out of Vinny that opened up B on Banana early on. But again, Flames just casually started the 2A setup. I'm not sure if that barrel was spotted. Fur will take one out in mid. That's a freebie.
We got man advantage. Imperial is something to work with. Jab, nice off angle here. Oh, he gets fully blinded. Vinny comes through. Good fight for him. And now Hooksy tries to retreat. On 37 HP. Nikodas coming in to try and help, but now he has to hold it on his own. Zyphon, same case towards Arch. Missed shot. Vinny chases right through that smoke. He's hunting, and he's got him pinned to the side of construction. A second round for Imperial's T side at the very least.
Hey, they're not overthinking it either. They're keeping it simple. That was just, first kill in the ult, seeing that Flames want to try to equalize, holding down the B pressure, they pop through it. It's perfect. They have Yabi waiting for them to do that play, but they're just not ready for the flash whatsoever. Hooksy gets disjointed, and I think that's why we've seen so much attention from Imperial over on Banana, and it's trying to expose this flawed Copenhagen Flames, who have clearly done a lot to improve on this half of the map and still have some growing pains. That was a spot where even Hooksy thought I could re-aggress, because normally a team would take that frag. They're on 4-3 at that point. Grab Banana control, chill for a bit, slow it down. We've seen some very slow rounds out of Imperial, and he thinks, okay, here's my chance to, throw my line in, try to catch one, get out, get back to the site, and have the rotators come in and help them. But Imperial were going so fast. I mean, they had no plans of slowing that down.
Vinny already rising to the top, 11 kills. Trying to keep Imperial alive for now in the first 10 rounds of this half.
Potential for Vinny to
join. ¿Qué consejo le daría a mi yo de 18 años? Invierte en Bitcoin, mano.
Both the top 8 on separate teams. Something that I just couldn't believe actually could happen.
Brackets control has been a challenge. A little bit nervous about the potential boost. Has been used from Flames. Roy, good nade. Fallen. That hits him hard, down to 72.
¿Cómo se abre Fallen, weón? No se puede abrir tanto.
Lane setup again. They don't see anything. Small risk here from Imperial to go low nades on this peak. But there is no punish from Nikodas. They're trying to find him, if possible. As we can see on the minimap, he's not even ready to peek into Boiler. He doesn't want his position to be known. He's sitting here waiting on this kind of fallback angle. But is this too much space for Imperial? Are they happy with that? They got off around 40 seconds. There's one player in the B site and an invitation to come in. I don't think this smoke is going to scare him at this point.
You'd think they just pop right through it. We'll see if Javi does the same. No, he actually flirts back within CT spawn.
This is because they don't have any bracket control. You see that arch smoke is still fresh, and they are not regressing on lane. So it's a mistake for Copenhagen to be doing this.
Underplaying a bomb site on a critical juncture as well. Imperial gonna fight for that third. They almost line up for him.
Oye, ya no tienen el smoke de CT. No, el tiempo.
No CT smoke as well. Kill.
They need to get that.
No. ¿Cómo la perdieron, weón? Ah, no, ya la plantó.
FNX in the back and Bolts goes in. 2 versus 2.
Con la justa,
Zyphon and Nikodas on the rotate. And anytime that Zyphon's around, still alive. It feels like it is winnable. Nikita's and Zyphon right there with a kill
Cómo
apiece.
perdieron esa ronda, mano, por cabrillas,
¿ah? I thought for sure they would try to double push something. I'm really surprised Bolt comes wide across the site in that spot. They're almost lucky to get the plant off with how late they let it go, but at the same time, it was Copenhagen with the weakest setup possible to even allow that round to be able to be actualized, and they nearly made it happen. So Imperial had some chances that have just gone by, and they're about to, you know, miss this train at some point. So only a few rounds left in this first half. Imperial can look back on all the close rounds, but this is the last series before we get into playoffs. There will be no more chances.
Frag over banana. 3 players behind it. And after that last round, you're going to think Flames, man, why need to fight for banana if the unoptimal setup still pulls off a victory for them?
Well, that may or may not be true. You know, for Imperial, they don't see anyone here. They've scared them. They should take it. And eventually, I think this will catch up to Flames, actually. So this will be a test of the passive hold. Hooksy and Yavi, they know that this can come. Very little unconfirmed damage between these two teams. Surprised that Copenhagen Flames are not trying to pretend to retake the top of banana, throw some mollies, see if they can get footsteps. Right now, Arch is wide open for Nikitas. He is holding on to it. He'll smoke middle late and start to make his way over to B. This will be very problematic for Imperial, who are forced to make a decision.
He's had a tendency to get here just in time.
No es moquean CT, puta, no esperaron que
explote. Deep smoke as well for the T side, so they're just trying to circumvent the threats of sight, get through construction, but are they doing this with enough time? There's 20 seconds, even less. Nikitas hears this, they're starting to run. Mini goes over, only 12 seconds now. Hooksy empty-handed, still focusing on that backside. Yabi comes out, Nikitas plucks a second off the site. Fur trying to plant, his head popped, but the bomb's still down. Does it matter? No. Imperial end another one on that B. Some variations here from Imperial, but all victories for the Flames.
Yeah, honestly, maybe they overcomplicated that spot. If they had kept it more simple, there's a couple of times now where CT just simply needs to be smoked. They wanted to do a deep CT smoke that takes longer to land, and they peak before it because they put themselves under time pressure. They could have executed, had 2 honest fights in the site. Maybe they're giving Flames a bit too much credit right there. Flames did not do anything too interesting. They were in the power position. They're in the lead. They know they have Imperial scared, and they're just looking for new things to try. They've done a good job of applying deep banana pressure over and over again, and they haven't always won, but as we can see, we've only got 2 rounds that Imperial have been the victors of, and they'll call a second tack pause to talk about things. You can see the opportunities right now. This is still possible for Imperial to get back into it, and honestly, Fallen's calling, especially in that C9 match, showed that they are really good at building into halves and reading what their opponents have been doing and then turning that into a really viable strategy. But ultimately, they're lacking right now. That's for sure. If not for Vinny, there'd be not much to talk about.
And we're already stretching it thin.
Ah, sí, ya está cuesta arriba, mano. 10-2. Yo no creo que puedan voltear un 10-2. Se han visto casos, pero está bien complicado.
Javi given an extra piece of utility here. That call of the void brings them back towards the B site. Again and again they've tried to break through, and they have. But now they need to hold on to one. And Copenhagen Flames come back with the late nades. Excellent damage off those.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have barely put any effort into throwing any of that late utility on the banana to finally catch them. They'll go for the flash retake on Hooksy. And Hooksy, he'll see 3-4 players. I mean, the plans are understood.
Y otra vez, puta, con 30 segundos van a ejecutar.
They need to be doing more on the map when they're drawing out these CT re-smokes. so that the retakers don't have utility left over, or they can keep hay as an option.
This one looking good. Imperial, they've added a layer to it, and they've done it right after that consistency in Nikadaz's rotation. So they've got that mental picture, but again, it's such little time.
Yo nunca tecleo vivido, Rodri,
He has only died once
yo también soy vivido, weón.
and he is locked in this pit real deep with support in Roy.
Creo que puedan plantar, weón.
It's not a bad option.
CT's already starting to come back around though. Bolts kills Hooksy, that'll help. You still got the player in library. Nikadaz dunks is down on Bolts. Roy stumps bomb
cayó la
a
bomba.
little bit.
No te digo.
Nikadaz's support looking perfect as it is just FNX 1v3, no time. This round is done. And so
increíble, bueno, lo que está haciendo Copenhagen, ¿no?
Because this T-side, man, 4 rounds best case scenario.
At the very least, we're saving a gun here in a position where I don't know. Are we forcing for the rest of the half? They gotta try something. They found it. I mean, they got Nikadaz to rotate B. They had A open. We had a little FNX lurk, and he didn't get off in all that time with Arch wide open. We haven't seen much proactivity from Nikadaz overall, right? He spends his time at Arch. If it's smoke, he rotates B. In this spot, it was a little tricky for Imperial, leaving it unsmoked, and that actually caused him to make a decision. They go for the long wrap, which would have been fine. Maybe if they had a few more seconds again. One thing we saw in that phase match was that Copenhagen players were so good at getting the rotators to help out in those positions. And now with the pressure on Bolt, 3 health, 2 dying, single AG, maybe get finished.
Oh my
I would
God.
think with this. Oh my God, okay, Yabi has to switch to the secondary, but he does do it, he does do it.
Están completamente anulados, weón. Sí, qué locura, weón.
Bolts pirouettes away from death. And Yabi still finds him. Roy flashed into middle thanks to Nikadaz. That's FNX out of this one.
Yeah.
Vinny and Fallen already so incredibly low.
Yeah, and back to max pressure, right? It's been like 3-4 rounds. We haven't seen anything out of... ooh, nicely done, Hooksy. We've been 3-4 rounds. They haven't even had Yabi be that mercenary to run down B.
Bueno, gente,
But man,
ya
AG
tengo
damage, Molly damage on
retirarme. Lamentablemente
Infinity.
voy a tener que cortar el stream.
That'll probably pay off.
Les
Look how
agradezco a todos
high
igual
up
por
these
estar
guys
por
are.
acá, acompañarme este par de horitas a ver los matches.
This is
Pero ya
crazy
los
because
tengo que
you can't
dejar.
do 2 of these boosts with
Llegó mi
only 2
hijo, llegó mi
players.
esposa, así que
You
me
get
voy
the
a almorzar
self-boost
con
on
ellos.
quad.
Cuídense todos, les mando un fuerte abrazo y nos vemos mañana probablemente que levanto stream. Chao, muchas gracias.
Respect where it has been earned. Hooksy is up here. He's waiting and Fallen's around the corner.
My queen!
My wife.
Madness. Madness. This is... This is Sparta!